Barcelona Metropolitan. We're once again here with Helen Vera from Vera to help us address the question today of squatters. It's something very important to anybody who is investing a lot of their time, energy, and sweat and cariño to their home. And it is a scary thought, and it's particularly scary if it has happened to you and perhaps you need some legal assistance in dealing with this issue. So thank you very much, Helen, for joining us today.
Welcome, Victor.
Okay, so Helen, do you want to tell people what you do for law, and then we'll jump right into the questions?
I think it will be good to jump right into the questions, since people is looking forward to know what to do in case someone occupy illegally their property.
Okay, so okupa is the Spanish word for squatter, somebody who illegally takes over your residence when you're not there, and all of a sudden you get fearful that they have more rights than you do, even though they sneaked in. So let's jump right into it. So lately, the squatters topic is a very trendy one in the news. The problem is that there's a lot of information and disinformation out there on the internet. Some are urban myths, some is just wrong altogether. And this lack of information is creating uncertainty. So Helen's gonna help us here. And question number one, Helen, what can a property owner do if they find themselves in a situation where somebody unwelcomely has taken over their property?
Sure, there are legal mechanisms to carry out the eviction, and the property owners must avoid at all costs to take justice in their own hands, since any action could have a consequence and future criminal responsibilities for the owner property, for the owners of the property. So I think it is extremely important to avoid at all costs to use parallel mechanisms and just to take the legal action provided or established in the law for this type of cases. The course of action or steps that we recommend to our clients are: first, go to the police, file a complaint proving just the ownership of the property with the deed of purchase or the rental contract. In case that you are in the place of, and you see someone is, and some squatters in your property, just call the 112, the 112, which is the emergency number. The police patrol will come to the place. Make sure that you have the deed of purchase with you or the legal contract. And in some cases, the police, of course, can take immediate action. We will go into details in the next questions regarding this action. The second step that we recommend to follow to our clients is to file a court claim in order to assure the result. These are the only actions that provide assurance and a definitive result and prevent the owner of being scammed by losing a few thousand euros in an illegal procedure that also offers no guarantee of result.
Okay.
So let's go to the second question, Victor.
Okay, so to make sure I understand, sometimes when people find themselves in this desperate situation, they go out to find a solution that will help resolve that problem, but that service might be illegal, and the property owner could then find themselves in even more, adding insult to injury. They could be then legally having problems instead of if they don't follow the procedures of law with, say, a lawyer or with the police. So that's what I get from you. And then the second question is, as you kind of alluded to it, what can the police do to evict squatters, or can they do anything to get them out of your home?
Yes, without any doubt. I mean, the owner must prove the ownership with the deed of purchase or the legitimate rental contract. And in this regard, it's important that you show to the police right rental contract signed by the owner of the property or the agency and the tenant, because sometimes there are some mafias that rent properties that are already occupied or rented by someone else. So it's important that when you sign a rental contract, you double check that the owner of the property is authorized, or the person who says is the owner of the property is really the owner of the property. That can be done easily with through your lawyer, or in the land register you can request an informative note. Even in the agency that you rent the property, you can request copy of the informative note from the land register in order to prove that the person who identifies in the contract is the same as stated in the land register as an owner of the property. That will avoid you many headaches, and it has a very small cost, because the informative note costs around 10 euros, and that is something that is easy of to access for any person. And in the worst case scenario, if you are not able to get it yourself, you can retain the services of a lawyer that for a small fee will do it for you.
Wow, I didn't know that this was a risk, Helen. So the risk, I didn't realize this. So some people will illegally rent an apartment when they're not even the owners or the subletters of that apartment.
Yes, that is what is currently doing the mafias of okupas. They are renting apartments, which they are not the legally owners of the apartment, and the person renting the apartment, sometimes, I mean, it's difficult for just common people to know who is the legal owner of a property. So it's important that you, at the moment of signing any rental agreement, you make sure the owner of the property is properly identified, so you don't get surprises in the future. Okay. Also, there is a lot of false information circulating through the internet that says something different regarding the police action. And the reason is because many times when the police patrol arrive at the same crime, they find that the occupants are in community areas of the building, and so the police cannot take action in that community areas. So it is some shortcuts or legal voids that the mafias are using to avoid the police action. Wow. Also, in regarding the action of the police, there is even a jurisprudential criteria that says that the police, with just with the criminal claim made by the owner of the property, can throw out the occupants of the house, since this type of action is considered as a flagrant crime. We are talking about a crime of breaking and entering into a house. Should be no problem for the police to take action, and the corresponding legal procedure is after the police take action will be initiated anyway by the police and by the court. Also, in that court procedure, when the court calls you to make the first deposition, it's important that you, as a victim, request an interim measure of eviction of the property in case that the occupants are still in the property. In the practice, what we find out is that many times the police can take action and remove the squatters from the property on the grounds of this jurisprudential criteria that I mentioned before.
Wow, okay. I think it'd be a nightmare if I would go on vacation to see my family, and then I come back and I find people in my apartment, and while I have to get all these legal things in order, where do I stay? I have to stay at a hotel or with friends, you know, that could be a nightmare. So what is more effective, taking like as a third question, a criminal procedure route or a civil route?
Well, provided that you have already filed your police report and the process is ongoing without any doubt, I would recommend the civil procedure, because it's the most effective and it's the one created specifically for this type of matters. And this type of procedure is supposed to be completed in 1 month, but in practice, it takes a little bit longer.
Wow. Okay, and so can you talk to me about what is the cause for the delay between either the criminal or the civil?
Honestly, Victor, is the lack of means and personnel in the courts to process the thousands of lawsuits that come every day It's not only squatters' claims. We have another type of procedures that comes, and there are not enough means to handle everything on time.
So it's administrative just because of the sheer number of things that are going on. I see.
Yeah, from the different Spanish Bar Association, we have made several proposals, including the creation of a specific court to deal exclusively with this type of cases. Also, one of the proposals has been to issue clear instructions to the police, a scope of action to remove the squatters by their own without the need of a court order. At the moment, the only clear thing that we have from the prosecutor is an order made by the High Public Prosecutor's Office in Balearic Island that says that the police can act immediately without the need of a court order in case the owner of the property provides or proves that he is the legitimate owner. However, in spite of this proposal, the feeling of the citizens is of a lack of protection by the public authorities. There is a perception of slowness on part of the administration of justice, as well as a lack of regulation that does not provide the police with the tools to act quickly. And I understand that the logical feeling of the people is of impunity.
Wow, and so what's wrong with that? What's causing it? What do you think?
Until now, part of the public authorities has not been aware of the magnitude and typology of the problem we are facing. And they are entering into political debates and so on, which has reduced the will and the creation of necessary tools to face the problem. To my knowledge, there are some local public authorities in Catalonia, as for instance in Mataró, that they have to start some protocols and find ways to control the illegal occupancy before it happens. And they have found some legal shortcuts to evict the squatters using, like, for instance, the administrative way, which is not the court way or the police way. For instance, when they make the inspection of a building and the building is in a bad condition, they can just close the building because it's a danger for the common people, the existence of that building or living inside that building. And with that order of closing the building, they can evict immediately the squatters. In any case, I think it's important that people know that there are legal tools to face the problem, that is very unlikely that you will return from your holidays and you will find out that your home or your house is occupied by some squatters. And usually the statistics says that most of the occupied houses are empty houses from banks that are pending. I mean, probably they are just put it on sale, or they are just waiting for a court order to be put it in auction, or second residence houses. Like, for instance, you have a house outside Barcelona that you go twice a year, but never is very strange, very rare to find the case that is the family home, the one occupied by the squatters. And that is information that I got firsthand information from the courts here in Barcelona, from many judges, so people can be tranquil that their their family homes will be not occupied by some squatters when they come back from their holidays, which I think is the main concern right now of the common people living in Barcelona or in Spain. Due to the recent news and the recent storm of information regarding the increase of squatters cases.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So even though that it does happen, it is very infrequent, and when it does tend to happen, it is for assets owned by banks that are not actually using those properties. That's good to know. Is there anything else that you would like to share? For example, go ahead, please.
Sure, Victor. I mean, I think it's important to summarize the steps that someone in this situation must follow, so the information is clear. And the steps are, first, call the police. It's the first thing that you should do. Call the 112, inform about the squatters inside the house, provide documents that prove your ownership of the property, and second, file the civil claim in the court, requesting, in case that you file or you decide that you need to file a criminal claim, it's important to know that you will have to make a second step, which is request an interim measure of eviction. So that's the reason, because we always recommend the civil claim before that the criminal claim. So first step, call the police. Second step, go to court.
Okay, and then Helen, for avoidance of doubt, if people need assistance with this process, this is something that you're very familiar with, is that correct?
Well, of course, we have plenty of cases of eviction, and we have many years dealing with this type of cases. It's one of.
Also, on that point, one of your other areas of business is you help foreign investors to buy and sell properties here in Barcelona. So you would be very familiar with this process if you have foreign investors who are fearful of it, but is that fear properly founded? I'm getting the sense that it really isn't something that most investors should have to worry about. Is that correct?
Yes, is that correct?
Okay. Well, for everybody else, if you have some questions regarding squatters or your concerns about the possibility of squatters or what to do should you find yourself in that unfortunate circumstance, please contact Helen. Thank you so much, Helen, at Helen Vera, dealing with family law, commercial law, immigration, anything the expats need. You should call Helen and Anna at Helen Vera. All the details are right here, right below. Thanks a lot, Anna. Sorry, Helen. I'll talk to you soon, and have a fantastic end of the summer.
Thank you, Victor. Same for you. Bye.
Bye.